everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today, looking at all things crypto.
All things crypto.
Pulling from some really interesting sources. The December 3rd episode of the Blockchain DXB podcast.
Or?
And then a couple of news articles as well. We've got a lot to cover.
Sure.
Everything from some Saudi entrepreneurs making some pretty big claims.
Oh, wow.
To XRP going absolutely bananas.
Interesting.
Even the Dubai police are getting in on the action, using some pretty high-tech tools to fight crypto crime.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It really paints a picture of like where this whole world is headed, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It all ties together in a way.
It really does.
Even though it seems kind of separate.
Exactly. It seems separate at first, but it all comes together.
Yeah, like the markets are moving.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen with regulations, but
Right.
institutions are getting more and more interested.
Totally.
And then you got these promises that sound almost too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
Yeah, lots to unpack.
For sure. For sure. Okay, well, let's start with a snapshot of like where the market's at right now.
Right.
The Blockchain DXB podcast mentioned a slight uptick in the global market cap.
Mm-hmm.
But what really stood out to me was the huge jump in trading volume.
Yeah, over 85% in the last 24 hours.
Crazy. Just goes to show you how quickly things can change in this world.
Exactly. And, you know, when you look closer, you realize that surge is mostly coming from stablecoins, especially Tether.
Interesting. So does that mean like people are getting scared? Like moving their money into stablecoins because they think the market's about to tank?
Could be, yeah. Some people might see it that way, like a flight to safety during a dip.
Right.
But the folks on the Blockchain DXB podcast had a different take on it.
Okay, I'm curious. What was their take?
They actually suggested it might be a bullish signal.
A bullish signal, even with the market dipping.
Yeah, remember, stablecoins are designed to hold their value.
Right, pegged to the US dollar usually.
Yeah, right, exactly. So when you see more volume there, it could mean that investors are just repositioning themselves.
Yeah.
Getting ready to jump back into Bitcoin or Ethereum when the time is right.
So it's not like a mass exodus. It's more like...
It's more like a pause.
Yeah.
A deep breath before the next move.
That makes sense. And this all kind of ties into the upcoming FOMC meeting, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about whether the Fed's going to raise interest rates and what that'll do to Bitcoin.
Yeah, especially with all this buzz about Bitcoin hitting $100,000 by the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. $100,000 Bitcoin. That'd be something else.
It would. But, you know, we got to remember that the crypto market isn't in a vacuum. These macroeconomic factors, interest rates, inflation, they all play a part.
Of course.
So whatever the FOMC decides on December 10th could have a big impact.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. But hey, speaking of market movers, we got to talk about XRP.
Oh, yeah. XRP's on fire lately.
It's insane. A 71% increase for the week and 367% over the past month.
It even flipped Tether, became the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap.
Wild. I mean, what's driving this surge?
Well, there are a few things at play. One is the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. He's actually stepping down in 2025.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that soon.
Yeah, and he's known for being pretty tough on crypto.
Yeah, especially XRP.
Exactly. So a lot of people in the crypto community are seeing his departure as a potential turning point, like maybe regulations will ease up.
Makes sense. It seems like his tenure has been a real thorn in the side of a lot of crypto projects.
Oh, yeah.
Especially Ripple Labs, the company behind XRP.
Absolutely. They've been locked in this legal battle with the SEC for ages.
Right, over whether XRP is a security or not.
Exactly. And the outcome of that case could have huge implications for XRP adoption.
Absolutely. Like if Ripple wins.
If Ripple wins, it could open the door for wider use of XRP.
Yeah, in things like ETFs.
Exactly. Exchange-traded funds.
And that would be huge.
Oh, yeah. It'd be a game changer. That potential for mainstream adoption is definitely fueling the current rally.
Yeah. It's amazing how one legal case can have such a ripple effect, pun intended.
It really is. But, you know, it's not just the retail investors driving this market. Institutional players are making some big moves, too.
Yeah, you're right. Like Marathon Digital, they just announced a $700 million notes offering to buy more Bitcoin.
And MicroStrategy.
Oh, yeah. MicroStrategy.
Or they're on a Bitcoin buying spree.
They are not messing around. They just completed their fourth weekly Bitcoin purchase in a row, raised $1.5 billion through stock sales to do it.
They are all in on Bitcoin, it seems.
Yeah, all in. It really shows you how much confidence some of these big institutions have in Bitcoin as a long-term investment.
Yeah, and MicroStrategy's approach is particularly interesting. They're aiming for a $21 billion Bitcoin portfolio.
That's a lot of Bitcoin.
It is, and they're already halfway there. It's
Yeah.
really a testament to that growing belief in Bitcoin as a store of value.
Definitely. And their stock price reflects that, up over 500% this year.
It's crazy. It makes you wonder, are we going to see a flood of companies following their lead,
Right.
building up their own Bitcoin treasuries?
It's possible, right? Like, is this the start of a major shift away from traditional assets and into crypto?
It's still early to say, for sure,
Sure.
but it's a trend worth watching, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that Bitcoin's not just this fringe asset anymore.
Exactly. It's gaining legitimacy among some pretty serious players, and that's huge.
But it's not without its risks, right?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
MicroStrategy, they're essentially betting big on Bitcoin.
Yeah, if the market crashes, their stock price could take a serious hit.
Right, right. High risk, high reward, I guess?
Exactly. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, even with institutional adoption.
Not at all. Now, here's something I found really interesting that the Blockchain DXB podcast brought up. Apparently, Solana's 7-day decentralized volume has skyrocketed,
Yeah.
even though its price and market cap have dipped. How does that even make sense?
It is kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah,
But it shows you that there's more to evaluating a blockchain project than just looking at the price.
totally.
Yeah.
So what does that surge in decentralized volume tell us about Solana then?
Well, it could mean that there's a lot of activity happening on the Solana network, even if the price isn't reflecting it yet.
Like what kind of activity?
Think about all those decentralized applications, the dApps.
Right.
They're being built and used on Solana, and that activity is reflected in the decentralized volume.
So even though the price might be down,
Yeah,
there's still a lot going on under the hood.
exactly.
That's really interesting. It reminds us that a blockchain's value isn't just about the price, it's about the whole ecosystem built around it.
Absolutely. The developers, the users, the applications, all of that contributes to the overall value.
Okay, so we've covered market trends and institutional adoption. But before we move on to Dubai and what they're doing with crypto security,
Okay.
there's this one story that just sounds almost too good to be true.
What's that?
The Blockchain DXB podcast talked about this Saudi entrepreneur
Yeah.
who claims to have created a non-depreciating crypto asset.
Wait, what? A crypto asset that can't go down in value?
That's what he's saying. It's all based on something called the Quintus protocol.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, me neither. Apparently, it uses over-collateralization, some new kind of cryptonomics,
Yeah.
and even AI-driven trading to guarantee an annual price increase between 18% and 30%.
Wow. That sounds pretty incredible. Almost too good to be true. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, has anyone ever actually achieved that kind of consistent growth in any market?
It's pretty unheard of. I mean, the whole idea of a non-depreciating asset, it goes against everything we know about how markets work.
Right.
There are always cycles, ups and downs.
Exactly. So to say that you've somehow cracked the code and figured out how to create an asset that only goes up,
Yeah.
it's a pretty bold claim.
It is. But the Quintus protocol, it does have some interesting aspects.
Like what?
Well, they've got patent protection for their technology,
Oh, wow.
and they seem to have a strong team behind it.
Okay.
But on the flip side, there are some red flags too. For one, they're pretty vague about how this non-depreciation actually works. Like, what are the mechanics behind it?
Right. A lack of transparency is never a good sign, especially in crypto.
Exactly. Plus, you got to think about the regulatory hurdles.
Yeah.
Anything promising guaranteed returns is going to attract a lot of attention from regulators.
Yeah, they might even classify it as a security, which comes with a whole other set of rules.
Exactly. And then there's the economic reality.
Like,
No asset has ever gone up in value forever. Markets are cyclical.
it's just how things work.
Right. So to claim that they've overcome this fundamental principle,
Yeah.
it's a tough pill to swallow.
So while the idea of a non-depreciating asset is definitely enticing,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
it's crucial to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely.
Do your research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. That's rule number 1 in crypto.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so we've talked about this Quintus protocol
Mm-hmm.
with its bold claims, but let's shift gears and talk about Dubai's approach to crypto security. This is where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
They're not just reacting to crypto crime, they're using blockchain analytics to predict and prevent it.
Wow, that's cutting edge.
It is. They've partnered with a company called Crystal Intelligence, which is a blockchain analytics firm.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, and Byteoasis, a virtual asset broker-dealer.
Okay.
Together, they're using blockchain data to try and get ahead of the criminals.
So it's like a pre-crime unit for the crypto world.
Kinda, yeah.
Right.
They're analyzing massive amounts of data,
Oh, yeah.
looking for suspicious patterns, potential threats.
And that gives law enforcement a huge advantage, right?
Exactly. They can potentially stop criminal activity before it even happens.
That's incredible. Does it actually work?
Well, no predictive model is perfect,
Right.
but it's definitely a step in the right direction,
Definitely.
especially as crypto becomes more and more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely.
It's reassuring to see authorities taking proactive steps to keep things secure.
I agree.
This partnership shows just how committed Dubai is to creating a safe and secure environment for crypto.
Yeah, it's a really forward-thinking approach. They're recognizing that as the crypto landscape evolves, the methods for combating crime have to evolve too.
Exactly.
And it's great to see that collaboration between law enforcement, these analytics firms, and the industry players.
Yeah, everyone working together to keep the ecosystem healthy and safe.
Like a digital neighborhood watch.
Exactly. Okay, well, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to that decentralized volume discussion.
Oh, yeah, Solana, right.
Solana, exactly. It's just so interesting how those numbers can tell a different story than the market cap or the price.
It really highlights how important it is to look beyond just the surface level.
Absolutely. Like we were saying before,
Hmm.
a busy city might not always have a growing population, but it can still be a hub of activity and innovation.
Exactly. And in Solana's case, that surge in decentralized volume could be a sign of a really vibrant ecosystem.
Right. Lots of dApps being built and used, even if the price isn't reflecting it yet.
Right.
So yeah, the price might not be telling the whole story.
Nope.
The activity on the network paints a much more nuanced picture.
Definitely. It's a good reminder that there's more to a blockchain project than just its market performance.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've explored market trends, we've talked about institutional adoption, blockchain security, and even the idea of a non-depreciating asset.
A lot to think about.
A lot to think about. Now, in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to try and tie all of this together,
Sounds good.
distill some key takeaways, and really explore what it all means for the future of crypto. So stay tuned.
Can't wait. You know, it's funny, this whole Quintess protocol thing,
Yeah.
it really shows you how much people want those easy gains in crypto.
Oh, totally. It's like the siren song, right?
Exactly. Everyone's looking for that shortcut, the guaranteed win.
Well, that's why it's so important to be skeptical, you know? Do your research, think critically.
Absolutely. Due diligence is key.
Yeah, due diligence. All right, well, speaking of navigating risks, let's get back to Dubai
Okay.
and what they're doing with crypto security. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like they're really on the cutting edge.
They are. It's not just about reacting to crypto crime anymore.
Right.
They're actually using blockchain analytics to try and predict and prevent it.
Wow. So they're using data to get ahead of the criminals.
Exactly. They're sifting through mountains of data, looking for those suspicious patterns,
Okay.
trying to spot those potential threats before they even happen.
So it's like having a pre-crime unit for the crypto world.
In a way, yeah. Now,
Okay.
obviously, no predictive model is perfect,
Of course.
but just the ability to spot those red flags early on,
Yeah,
that's huge.
it is. It's a game changer.
It really is. And it's not just about catching the bad guys either.
Right.
It's also about preventing those big financial losses.
Right. Because those losses can be huge.
They can be massive. So the more we can do to prevent those from happening,
Yeah,
the better.
definitely. Especially as crypto keeps getting more integrated into our lives.
Right. It's becoming more mainstream every day.
It is. And that means security becomes even more important.
Absolutely. So I think it's really reassuring to see authorities like Dubai police taking these proactive steps.
Yeah.
It shows they're serious about creating a safe and secure environment for legitimate crypto activities.
It does. This partnership with Crystal Intelligence and Byte Oasis,
Yeah.
it's a clear signal that they're committed to staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah, they're not messing around. Okay, so we talked about Dubai's approach to security, which is very cool and impressive. But let's not lose sight of the decentralized volume discussion.
Oh, yeah, Solana.
Solana. I keep coming back to it because it's so fascinating.
It's kind of weird, right? How the volume can go up while the price goes down?
It is. But it really underscores the need to dig deeper,
Yeah.
to look beyond just those headline numbers when you're assessing a blockchain project.
Exactly. Like we said, a busy city might not always have a growing population.
Right, but there's still a lot going on.
Exactly. There's activity, there's innovation, there's energy.
And that's what we're seeing with Solana, that surge in decentralized volume.
Yeah.
It could be a sign of a really healthy and vibrant ecosystem.
Lots of apps, lots of users, lots of potential.
Exactly. So while the price might not be telling the whole story right now, the activity on the networks is definitely something to pay attention to.
It is. And it reminds us that a healthy crypto market isn't just about prices going up.
No, it's about so much more than that.
It's about a strong community. It's about innovation. It's about real-world use cases.
It's about building something sustainable, something that actually has value beyond just speculation.
Absolutely.
It's about using this technology to make a positive impact on the world.
Exactly.
Okay, well, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want to bring up the Quintus protocol one more time.
Oh, the non-depreciating asset.
That's the one. We talked about the red flags, the lack of transparency, the potential regulatory hurdles.
Yeah, it's a risky proposition for sure.
It is. But let's step back for a minute and just consider the hypothetical implications.
Okay.
What if, hypothetically, such an asset did exist?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, how would it change the world of investing in finance?
That's a great question. I mean, imagine a world where you could put your money into something that was guaranteed to go up in value every year.
No matter what's happened in the market.
Exactly. It'd be a paradigm shift.
It would. It would completely change how we think about risk and reward.
Yeah, diversification wouldn't be as important
Hedging wouldn't matter as much.
because you'd have this one asset that was a sure thing.
Right, and think about the potential impact on wealth inequality.
Oh yeah, the rich would get richer faster.
Exactly. And what about innovation?
If everyone's flocking to this one safe asset,
Right.
who's going to invest in anything else?
It could stifle innovation across the board.
Exactly. And then there's the question of what it would do to central banks
Oh,
and monetary policy.
I mean, if there's an asset that's immune to inflation and guaranteed to appreciate,
It would completely undermine their ability to control the economy.
it's mind-boggling to think about.
It really is. But even if this Quintus protocol turns out to be nothing more than a pipe dream,
Yeah.
the fact that someone's even trying to create something like this,
Yeah.
it speaks volumes about the creativity and the ambition driving the crypto space.
It does. It's what makes this industry so exciting.
Absolutely. It's unpredictable, it's constantly evolving, and you never know what's going to come next.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
Market trends, institutional adoption, blockchain security, even the hypothetical implications of a non-depreciating asset.
Quite a journey.
It has been. Now, in the final part, we're going to try to synthesize all of this,
Okay.
distill some key takeaways, and really explore what it all means for the future of crypto.
Sounds good.
So stay with us. All right, welcome back for the final part of our crypto deep dive.
Well, part.
Feels like we've been all over the place. From those crazy market swings and XRP's wild ride
Yeah, up and down.
to those big institutions just stacking Bitcoin like it's going out of style.
They really are.
And Dubai, man, they're taking security to a whole new level.
It's pretty impressive.
But now it's time to like zoom out,
Take a step back.
connect the dots and try to make sense of it all. What does this all mean for the average person? Where's this whole industry headed?
That's the big question, right?
It is. So what do you think? What are the big takeaways from all this?
Well, one thing that really stands out is how much crypto and traditional finance are starting to blend together.
Oh, yeah. It's getting harder and harder to separate them these days.
Exactly. Like you said, those big institutions, they're not just dipping their toes in the water anymore.
They're diving in head first.
Head first, buying up Bitcoin, exploring all these other crypto assets.
It's almost like we're seeing the birth of a new kind of hybrid financial system.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time to be watching all this unfold.
It really is. And it brings up another point we've touched on.
Regulation?
Regulation, exactly. It feels like that's going to play a huge role in shaping the future of crypto.
Absolutely.
Remember how XRP's price jumped just on the news of that SEC chairman stepping down?
Oh, yeah, Gary Gensler.
Gary Gensler, right? It just goes to show how much power those regulatory decisions have.
It's a huge factor for sure.
So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, right?
Oh, yeah. Stay informed, know what's happening both in the U.S. and globally because things can change really fast.
Speaking of fast-paced, it seems like innovation in the crypto world just never stops.
Never.
It's incredible. New projects, new protocols, new applications popping up all the time.
All the time. Each with its own as promises, risks, and potential disruptions.
Exactly, like that Quintus protocol with its non-depreciating asset claim.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Even if it turns out to be nothing, it just shows you the kind of thinking that's driving this industry, right?
It's bold, it's ambitious, it's pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's what makes it so exciting, but also a little dangerous.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's why it's so important to be cautious, to do your research, to think critically.
Don't get swept up in the hype.
Exactly. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. That's rule number one in crypto.
Couldn't agree more. But okay, before we wrap this whole thing up, I
Mhm.
want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked a lot about crypto's potential to disrupt finance,
Right.
but what about its impact beyond that?
That's a great question.
Like healthcare, supply chains, voting systems, even how we interact with governments.
Wow, yeah.
These are all areas where blockchain technology is already starting to make waves.
It is. And the potential is huge, right?
Mhm.
To create a world that's more transparent, more secure, more efficient.
It's not just about financial gains anymore.
It's about changing the world, about
Mhm.
using this technology to make a real difference.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, that's the message I want to leave everyone with. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep an open mind. Because the crypto world is full of surprises, and it's changing every single day.
It really is. It's a wild ride.
It is. But it's also an incredibly exciting ride, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to come up with the next big innovation that changes the world.
I love it. Well, it's been great diving into all this with you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. All right, everyone, until next time, stay curious.